And when I see that, my first reaction is, that's not enough peas to fill the bottom of a pot. What's up, Lazy Dog fam? Hope all y'all are having a wonderful day. It is Thursday, April 17th here in South Georgia, and we just had a pretty good pea harvest from this plot right here behind me. So in today's video, I want to share that with you, share how our pea grow out went this year, and hopefully give you some inspiration if you're looking to kind of get to that level where you can grow enough to preserve. So earlier today I harvested our PLS 595 peas and filled up this fish basket right here. It's only halfway full now because some of them have been shelled already, but it was once completely full. Now a basket that size full of delicious English peas is definitely enough to restock the freezer, and that was our goal here with this grow out with these 4 30-foot rows, was to restock the freezer. Yes, we'll enjoy a little bit of them fresh, but mainly we wanted to get our freezer stash back up to par. Now as we look at these, you will notice there's a decent amount of pods still left on those plants, but most of those are as flat as they can be. I tried to pick everything, even that had some tiny peas inside the pods, because I don't know how much longer these plants are going to hang on. You can see that row right there is almost completely toast. There might be 1 or 2 plants at the beginning of the row hanging on there, but the rest of those have just burned up on us. And on this front row here, we're starting to see the sun take its toll a little bit. Still got a few plants hanging on. The best rows are these 2 in the middle here. I guess they're kind of buffered by these 2 outside rows that are taking all the damage. So we planted these way back in early January because that's what we have to do down here. We have to get these things planted very, very early because we know it's going to get too hot for them really quick. Even in April, it can be too hot for English peas down here. And it might not have been a bad idea to even plant, say, mid-December. I might try that next year to get them in even earlier. And as we'll talk about in a little bit, our success rate on these English peas will vary a good bit from year to year. If it gets hot real quick, not going to be a good English pea year. We have some nice cool spring weather. It's usually a good English pea year. This year we're probably falling kind of somewhere in the middle. Hasn't been great because we've lost some plants, but we did get a pretty good harvest today. So if you live in a southern climate and see pictures or videos of gardeners up north with these long, beautiful pea trellises, they're just loaded during the summer, realize you can't do that. You have to grow out your peas early in the year. You need to be harvesting peas before you're harvesting taters. That tells you that you've got your timing kind of right. And that's why this type of trellis is perfect for growing English peas in the South. We don't need a huge tall trellis because they're never going to get that tall. The sun's going to get them before they do. That's why these 4 or 5 foot tall T-posts and this little string trellis works perfect, and it is really, really cheap. We already had these T-posts and we might have used $5 worth of string to put this together. We just add string as they grow. We never have more string than we need. We know they're going to top off about, say, 3.5, 4 foot tall. They may get a little taller than that some years, but we're not wasting anything here. We're only using as much string as we need. And so what I'll do with those remaining peas, I'll spread them out on a towel or a sheet on the floor. You want to be careful with peas, leaving them stacked up in a bucket like that. They can get too hot. So we'll spread them out on the floor, get them all shelled, we'll blanch them, then put them in freezer bags, and into the freezer they'll go. And so while I was picking these peas, and it didn't take me long to pick these 4 30-foot rows here, I got to thinking about how there are levels to gardening. A win for one person might be completely different than a win for another person. So I'll frequently see photos or videos from people on Facebook or Instagram that have a relatively small planting of peas, maybe just a few plants there, and they'll be absolutely tickled about the production they're getting from this really small planting of peas. And when I see that, my first reaction is, that's not enough peas to fill the bottom of a pot. What is even the point of growing that small amount of peas? But I shouldn't think that way, because like I said earlier, their victories are different than my victories. For them, a victory is just seeing something there that you can pick and eat. Doesn't really matter how much it is, because they never intended to grow enough to put in the freezer in the first place. So the fact that they have something edible that they've grown, that's their victory. However, me on the contrary, the only level of gardening I've ever known is to grow enough to preserve some. That's the way we did it growing up. That's the way I've always done it around here. That's just what people that live out here in the country do. They grow enough to preserve some. If they don't feel like preserving it that year, they'll give it away, but they're growing an abundance, not just a little bit for a small victory. So I think sometimes we need to back up a little bit and not be quick to scoff at something that we might find inconsequential because it's on a much different scale than we do it. And to further that point, there's probably people watching this video that see my peas right here and think, man, you suck at growing peas. Those look pitiful. But to me, it's a victory because we got enough to put in the freezer. Now, I do think for most gardeners that have the space to pull it off, the end goal is to get to that level where you can grow enough to be good enough at growing to have enough to preserve. I think that's most people's end goal. It just might take some people longer to get there. And since I'm a big fan of analogies or metaphors, I'll share this one with you that I think relates a lot to what we're talking about here, being able to grow enough peas to put in the freezer. So as a lot of you know, both my boys play football, and my oldest son, Abram, his first year of football was 2 years ago. And in his first year, he played pretty well, but his teams just didn't have a lot of success. I think that first year, his teams went 2-11, only won 2 games the whole year, and it was tough on him. It really, really got him down. But that year, as we kept losing and wanting to win even more, I shared with him a quote from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar that says, "You can't win until you learn how to lose." So I explained to him, we're just learning how to lose here. We're going to win eventually. First, we got to learn how to lose. And so his second year, things got a lot better. His teams ended up going 13-3. They won a couple championships, and he turned into an absolute monster on the football field. But all that experience losing in the first year, I think, was crucial to his success going forward. And I think gardening is very similar. You gotta lose before you can win. You gotta take those bumps and bruises, because that's what's going to help you become a better gardener. So using these English peas as an example here, if I would have planted English peas for the first time and planted them in March, and then those plants got burned up before I harvested any peas, that loss would teach me a valuable lesson that I need to take some chances and plant earlier and earlier, understanding what happened there. And just like with Abram's football, you're not going to win a title every single year. You may have a good year, but that doesn't mean you're going to win a championship. Had it not gotten so hot already, we might have picked 1.5 to 2 of those fish baskets full of peas today. That would have been a title year. But this year, just 1 basket full, still going to be enough to do what we wanted to do. So when you have losses in the garden, don't give up. Yet think about what you can change to get better, and don't go chasing a bunch of rabbits from crazy stuff you may see online. Think practical here. Think about timing of planting. Think about maybe changing the variety you were growing. Simple stuff like that. Don't get crazy with the changes. Keep it kind of straightforward. Think about what you could have done better, and just take those bumps and bruises, and I promise you, you will eventually get better. So whether you're in your first year of gardening or your 20th year of gardening, it's all about learning, adjusting, and trying again, and understanding that you're not going to hit a home run every single year. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. I hope everybody that planted English peas has a really good pea harvest this year, whether that's just having enough to snack on or whether that's having enough to fill the freezer. And if you want to learn more about our planting timing around here and why we prioritize these before anything else in the late winter months, watch this video right here and we'll talk about the order in which we prioritize our spring planting. So check that out, and we'll see you next time right here at Lazy Dog Farm.